This week on a special edition of Ebert and Roeper, the movies that made us check our watches.
And to everyone's surprise, Rob Schneider's not in any of them.
We're looking at the worst movies of the year so far.
Maybe Dr. Klaus is right and we should be alone for this.
Catherine, I strongly advise you not to contemplate
Stop. Is this where we're going to do it?
There's really an act of genius to kill a guy by having sex with him in a car that's going 110 miles an hour and then crashes into a river, and then you swim away, but he dies because you injected him with killer drugs. Now, if you think that's convoluted, it's only the opening sequence. Basic Instinct 2 has a stylish look and a few sexy moments, but the plot goes from confusing to implausible to absolutely ludicrous in the final sequence. Thumbs down.
Thumbs down for me, too, but you know, this character cannot be played well. But no one could play her badly better than Sharon Stone.
You don't see Dame Judi Dench as Catherine Trammell?
She is absolutely fabulous at creating this trashy character in this god-awful movie, and you look at it with a kind of a strange fascination.
Yes,
I mean,
I agree, yeah.
It's bad, but it's not boring. I mean, I give it thumbs down. At the same time, I have to admit to the people watching the show, if you go to see it, you're probably going to enjoy it.
And I do think, you know,
in its own way.
I exactly get what you're saying. It's not like you're sitting there going, oh my God, when is this going to end? It's more like, oh my God, what are they going to pull next? And there are lines that are going to get laughs inadvertently, but it's still funny. And this does have that feel of that midnight participatory audience laughing, throwing things at the screen kind of thing.
You know, I'm going to say something. This may not be appropriate, but we saw it in our screening room here in Chicago with about 45 other critics.
Yeah.
This is the only screening I've ever attended in that room where nobody got up at any point to go to the bathroom.
Well,
I don't know what that means.
I'm really just thinking about the fact that you've kept track of that all these years.
I sit right by the door
you
there,
do sit
so
by
I
the door
see them,
with the nice peppermints.
Let's move on to the next film.
My miracle pill for the middle-aged man.
Are you sure you're okay in there?
Yes, I am. I'm fine. I'm just getting in the mood for love.
And that's Beyonce Knowles, who, along with Emily Mortimer, does a good job of looking beautiful while being mystified by Clouseau's bizarre behavior. And I don't think Steve Martin was the right choice for the Peter Sellers role. If it had to be anyone, maybe Mike Myers.
Well, you're right about that. I mean, Steve Martin 25 years ago maybe, but now he's just too sophisticated and too experienced. And what's the point is what you're saying, and I agree with you. What is the point, Roger? Are all the Pink Panther movies with Peter Sellers, have they been wiped off the face of the earth? No, they're available out there. So to me, it's like, well, you know, a bunch of talented people get together and say, well, we're going to cover a bunch of Beatles songs. Well, why? We have the original classics. And they're just sort of going through the motions.
We're going through a whole season now of remakes. I mean, Cheaper by the Dozen also has Steve Martin doing films that were done 25, 30 years ago.
I think that, you know, from Steve Martin's point of view, it's got to be, I'm going to cash a paycheck so I can do movies like Shop Girl, but they're just not worth seeing.
Are you okay in there? Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh wow. Ashley!
The movie is targeted mostly at young teenage girls, and they may like it just fine. So I thought the whole story was completely predictable, took no chances, did nothing new, didn't do any old stuff very well, and was kind of monotonous. Thumbs down.
Yeah, I have a vision of the future, Roger. We're doing our show on the worst movies of 2006, and right about the number 5 slot, I see Just My Luck. I mean, I thought it was dreadful. It's like, okay, wait a minute. Is she 19 or 20, which Lindsay Lohan's right in that range, but she's playing this executive at this company. And then if she has all this great luck, she just has a cubicle. Why isn't she more? And she has roommates. None of that makes sense. And this is the kind of movie when you see a giant pile of mud, you know that someone's going to be face down in that mud.
She inherits the roommates after her apartment floods, after her luck changes. But apart from that, I agree with you. You know, Lindsay Lohan is just at that age when she's going to start taking different kinds of roles. And I've already seen her in Altman's Prairie Home Companion, which is a much different kind of performance than you see here. I think she's really talented, and Richard, there she is behind you there.
She's a cute girl.
Behind a cute girl.
She's a cute girl. She's got some talent. She's been in some decent movies. I think they're trying to push her too quickly into the leading lady roles that she should be doing when she's 27 instead of when she's 19. And beyond all that, Roger, this movie just sucks. The screenplay is awful. Let's just remind people of that. This is a real piece of junk.
No, I think your opinion has been made very clear.
Thank you.
Seriously, I'm not one of those girls who don't eat. I wanted all that.
See, technically, this is not my boat. Actually, it's not my boat in any way.
What?
I'm a boat broker. I sell boats. I would love to own a boat like this, but it's not the right time in my life. Besides, the guy who does own this boat is right behind you.
The basic problem with failure to launch is that Trip and Paula are not very nice people. They're deceitful, shallow, conceited characters, and they're playing a cruel game. Zooey Deschanel creates a more sympathetic character by being exactly who she seems to be. I didn't believe one moment of this plot, which is one long, preposterous contrivance, and the sentimental scenes were even more unbearable than the so-called funny ones.
Oh, you're so right. And, you know, Matthew McConaughey has been good in some other films, but he is the wrong guy to play some dude that's living at home at the age of 35.
Yeah.
I mean, he's all ease, charm, and looks and everything. That's the kind of guy that moves out when he's 15 because he's dating his high school teacher. This guy ain't living at home at 35. It's completely unbelievable.
What about all the animals that bite them?
Yeah, and then
the lizard and the mockingbird.
Yeah, the
and,
biting scene. What about Terry Bradshaw showing us his naked rear 3 times?
Yeah, that was amazing. There's nudity in this movie.
Whole life without seeing that.
Nudity in this movie, and it's Terry Bradshaw.
We'll be back with more of the worst films of the year so far. On this special show, Roger and I are looking back at the absolute worst movies of the year to date, and it just so happens there were 2 movies that were so bad they made both our lists.
It looked like somebody cut her open, you know. Yeah, and I didn't want to say anything because I didn't want to scare everyone, and I didn't make Mom upset. But I'm telling you, there is something going on.
Okay, here's the deal. A family is stranded on a lonely desert road, and the flesh-eating mutants that live in the hills start picking them off in increasingly gruesome fashion. And what about those mutants, Roger? What about the mutants? They were created by nuclear testing in the 50s, so by now I guess we're looking at 2nd or even 3rd generation mutants. There are mutant kids, so I guess there must be mutant moms and mutant dads who fall in mutant love. What do these mutants do between slaughters? I'd rather see a film from the mutant point of view, anything to break the pattern of these predictable, ugly, bloody splatter movies.
Well, thumbs down. Okay, me too. You know, you talked about The Devil's Rejects, and the interesting thing about that film is that it really did go into the personalities and relationships of these isolated
family, right?
Killers, yes. Yeah. In this movie, they exist entirely as monsters to jump out from the edge of the screen and chop people up and disgust us. And there is a little girl who's supposed to be kind of sympathetic, and I'd like to have known more about her. But instead, it's essentially just a series of gruesome murders, and that's all it is, and after a while, it gets tired.
And really just kind of hateful. We're talking about a woman who has just given birth, and the mutant is like, you know, doing all these things to her, and then her head gets blown up. I mean, it's just nasty, nasty stuff.
How about the fool?
I told you so.
Call 911.
And the big finale is a ridiculous spectacle, with the movie nearly forgetting about Haley's struggle in favor of a heavy-handed commentary about the sport's antiquated scoring system. Who cares? Missy Peregrym is a beautiful young woman who could play Linda Fiorentino's younger sister in a thriller, but I didn't believe her for a second as a world-class gymnast. The other actresses are shrill and unfunny. The guys playing Haley's best friends are a third-rate buddy duo from the Bill and Ted School. There's probably a good movie to be made about the insular, intense, growth-stunting world of hardcore gymnastics with little girls training for the Olympics at the expense of having any kind of a life. This ain't that movie. Big thumbs down.
All the way through the movie, I kept thinking of a movie from almost 20 years ago called Personal Best, starring Mariel Hemingway, written and directed by Robert Towne, about a coach and a gifted athlete. That movie had so much truth in it. This movie, it's just completely phony. I mean, it plays like a music video. The dialogue is so kind of elliptical and eccentric and kind of like, oh, I'm so colorful in my word choices and in the strange slang that I'm using so that nobody ever sounds sincere. And then the action, as you say, is...
Lots of montages.
I think a lot of those tricks are done with computers. Let me ask you something. Now, Richard, you watch ESPN. You know all about sports.
Sure.
You're an expert.
Yeah, okay.
Can you actually spin on your head on a parallel bar?
I think once. You can do it once.
Once
but
around?
Then you're in
but you know the
Boogaloo
scene, you know the scene I'm talking about? Can you really do that?
I think that's the least of the concerns here.
When we come back, more of the worst films of the year so far. On this special show, Richard and I are listing the worst films of the year so far.
Chancho, when you are a man, Sometimes you wear stretchy pants.
Now, I guess I could see Nacho Libre working as a 5-minute skit on Saturday Night Live, but as a feature film, it's like watching the entire history of an SNL character long after the joke is worn off. Black comes from the Jim Carrey, Robin Williams school of comedy, which says always, always let him see you sweat. Sometimes that's brilliant, other times, like here, it's just irritating. He mugs, he preens, he sings, he belly flops, he twitches. And I'd say his laugh-getting batting average is about 200. This is a wretched-looking film with unattractive people, with the exception, of course, of that nun in training, doing and saying unattractive things in unattractive settings. I hated this movie. Big thumbs down.
I was disappointed, too. And there were some funny things in it. And I
Yeah,
smiled.
very few,
I kind
very
of smiled
few.
from time to time at the whole conceit of these matches and of the fact that he finds himself as a professional wrestler. And I love this little motorcycle and a few things like that. But come on. It just didn't gel. It didn't come together. A comedy has to really pound in the humor. I mean, not that it can't be subtle, but it has to be there.
There is no story here whatsoever. Even when, I mean, even something, you know, as wacky as the 40-year-old virgin or the Wedding Crashers, you have to have something resembling something happening to some people. Nothing goes on here. He just keeps wrestling, then he goes back to the orbit, and you get a lot of close-ups that are just kind of mean of people with dumb looks on their dull faces. I hated it.
Okay.
Get out of the way, kid!
You want to bury those owls, you gotta bury me too. Me too.
That makes 3 of us.
We will not let you kill these owls.
That's Clark Gregg. He's a gifted character actor saddled with playing a cartoonishly callous bad guy who insists on bulldozing the land even as the media and half the town look on. We're also sidetracked by scenes involving a school bully and a hippie school teacher played by Jimmy Buffett, who also produced the movie and provides the soundtrack. The young actors are just okay, while Wilson and Tim Blake Nelson, among others, really aren't given that much to do. Hoot is just too preachy for me, so thumbs down.
Thumbs down for me, too. And you know, this was made by the same people who made Holes, which is one of the best family movies and children's movies of the last 10 years.
You liked it more than I did.
In which the kids dug the holes. Now we have the owls. Actually, burrowing owls do not dig their own holes. They steal holes of other animals. Did you know that?
I did not know that, but thank
sometimes
you,
when they're
Dr.
really,
Nature.
Sometimes when they're really hard pressed, they will dig a hole, but they'd rather avoid it. I wanted to know why they're building the. Yeah, this is true. Why are they building the pancake house in the middle of a wilderness with no highways around?
I know, it might have made more sense.
Apparently, have to walk to get to the pancake house through the woods.
You know, why not put it on Main Street?
Yeah,
it seems like it would be. And this little town, they're awfully excited about having a pancake house. I've never heard people talk about pancakes like it's the elixir of life.
It's
you know,
bring
we're going to get stuff.
12 new jobs to town.
But didn't you think it was a little bit, I mean, over the top, Roger, with this whole environment good, developers bad, you know?
And the mullet fingers guy, the little kid, not little.
The young boy.
Young boy.
13, I guess.
He lives apparently in the woods, and he's kind of a cross between Huckleberry Finn and Tarzan. And yet he's a nice guy, but he kind of slips in and out of things and is a freelance guerrilla, urban guerrilla environmentalist, and it's kind of hard to believe that.
Yeah, and the whole thing, too, there's all these musical montages with the two boys, and I'm like, is this thing going to go Brokeback on us, or what's going on here?
We have your computer! Kids, grab your paint guns. Honey, pull ahead. We'll put one across their bow.
I think at this point, somebody needs to tell Robin Williams that the whole white guy hip-hop routine was played out around 1997.
This is my man C. He's small but ferocious. But you dogs, you're hardcore. Where are you from?
Scottsdale.
Scottsdale, in the zone of yow. That's a hardcore hood.
This movie is obsessed with scatological humor, most of it more scatological than humorous. Now, I did laugh out loud at some of the bits, as when Williams wrestled with his seatbelt. He kept trying to get that seatbelt going, and he had some pretty funny conversations with the RV's navigator. And I did like Jeff Daniels and his goofy sincerity, but even in a slapstick comedy, you need a little bit, just a little bit of realistic dramatic tension. There's absolutely no reason for Bob to keep the secrets he keeps, and absolutely nothing surprising or original about how things are resolved. RV also reinforces my theory that anytime a main character gets covered in fecal matter, the screenplay probably could have used a little tinkering. RV's a very average comedy. Thumbs down.
Thumbs down for me, too, but you forget it's an absolutely obligatory law of all cross-country RV movies that at some point the man will get covered in fecal matter. I mean, that's required, yes. That's in the bylaws.
Thank you for sharing
apart from that, there were some moments when I laughed, and oddly enough, though, Robin Williams was most effective in those few scenes where he was serious.
Yeah.
Because then I kind of believed him. And in general, it was just a retread of a retread of a retread.
I agree. Well, you know, Roger, the setup was kind of good when we saw him with his daughter when she was very young, and she just loves her dad so much, and then she's 15, and she's like a lot of 15-year-old girls. She thinks her dad's an idiot. And there's some funny lines from Cheryl Hines at one point. She's like, we're not friendly people. Why are we going camping? And I thought, well, this is going to have some potential. But once they got on the road, as you said, it's a retread.
I did also kind of like the Gornicke family and the way that all 5 of them do that song and dance, country and western act together, and that they bond in that bus that they drive
you know,
around.
I agree. We're not sure if they're in a cult or if they're just really friendly, nice, slightly strange people, and maybe a movie about the Gornickes would have been more interesting. And we'll be back to continue with this special show right after this.
And I just feel like every time I see you, it just gets so like weird and chaotic and scrambled, and I can't organize my thoughts, and I can't even express the most basic things I want to say to you.
I know, me too.
The women in this film are gorgeous but vapid party animals. The men are spineless party animals. They all deserve each other. We deserve to see a film that doesn't feel as if it were written and directed by a 19-year-old who just got his heart broken for the first time. So thumbs down, 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 down.
Thumbs down for me too. My goodness, what an ordeal this was to be in that bathroom, locked in there with these boring people.
No, what an ordeal for us to watch.
Who are stoned out of their minds and having these meaningless conversations. Who is God? Does God exist? Is there an afterlife? Let me try something on you here. I've never snorted cocaine, so I can't say this for sure, but I'll bet that if you began by being wasted, snorted cocaine, drank and passed out and were awakened by a phone call and went to a party and spent the next 3 hours snorting unlimited amounts of more cocaine and drinking tequila out of a bottle, you would not be able to talk.
Yeah, and yet they're able to articulate these philosophy 101 arguments. And that's the other thing, Roger. We don't know anything about these people. This guy, he wakes up stoned. He apparently has a ton of cash because he's buying all these drugs. We get flashbacks in these beautiful houses. We don't know anything about this guy. There's not one redeeming quality about him. I just want his girlfriend to get on that plane and get out of town.
His heart was broken. That poor Jessica Biel. I mean, you're right, she should have nothing to do with this guy. He's a complete loser. She should get out of town as fast as possible. The fact that she kind of likes him still is insane.
Yeah, well, you know, from her standpoint, the movie should have been called Restraining Order, okay?
What the hell? Hey, stop! Let me go, mother...
Clark finds these skateboard punks a lot more fascinating than I do. He also seems to believe that a couple of them have such raw, sexually charged charisma that virtually every girl and woman, not to mention at least one man they encounter, wants to jump into bed with them immediately. There's also an offensive scene involving a trigger-happy action movie star who is clearly based on Clint Eastwood. In the world of What's Up Rockers, the skateboard punks are pure, free-spirited creatures, and everyone in the white world is either stupid, racist, promiscuous, or some combination thereof. Not only that, but the music sucks, the acting is weak, and the skating isn't very good. Big thumbs down.
Thumbs up for me, and by the way, I think that action star was supposed to be Carlton Heston, but never mind.
Okay, you might be right. Either way, it's offensive.
I'm surprised you didn't like this movie because you didn't recognize in it its genesis in your favorite film, Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Oh, please.
Because that's what it is. These kids
I don't think so.
halfway across town using every possible mode of transportation to have all kinds of adventures in which basically they're very good natured. They don't do drugs. They don't have guns. They don't steal. They get into trouble.
I don't think they're that good natured.
They are. They're lighthearted and cheerful most of the time, and they have some bad things happen to them. But essentially, this is Larry Clark's brightest film, his sunniest film.
Jeez,
and
wow.
I enjoyed it because I really felt that he was identified with and interested in this teenage culture, not just the boys, but the girls too.
Well, first of all, Roger, I find it troubling the way he kind of objectifies these young boys and all these.
Objectify everybody in them.
Yeah, but you got a 14-year-old kid who's supposedly this great god. Everybody just wants to throw themselves at him.
No, he's a great god to other 14-year-olds, and that happens.
And to middle-aged women, to gay artists and everybody else who tries to bend them down. I think it's more. I think a better comparison might be to the Warriors. It seemed more like that, like this gang trying to get through the night. These kids roaming through various territories, trying to get home. I think the Ferris Bueller thing is nuts.
They're not predators. They're not predators. They're basically good-hearted kids who have a bunch of adventures, just like Ferris Bueller.
I'm glad you think those are good-hearted kids. They should come to your vacation home and spend a weekend. How'd you feel about that?
I don't think I would have very much to fear from them, to tell you the truth. We'll be back to tell you which of these films are available on DVD in case you'd like to torture yourself with a weekend of agony.
There's a funnel cake carnival going on at IHOP. crispy funnel cake smothered in fruit and whipped topping and served with all your favorites.
America's #1 value price internet service is only $9.95 a month. Net Zero is easy to use, safe, and reliable. Net Zero. Join the millions.
You don't have to hunt for the best deals on the internet. Just follow that little arrow to motel6.com. Bullseye.
For people with diabetes, testing with Freestyle is virtually pain-free. Virtually pain-free testing means happy fingers.
Closed captioning for Ebert and Roeper is brought to you by...
So, out of all the terrible movies you've mentioned this week, A Failure to Launch, The Hills Have Eyes, The Pink Panther, and Basic Instinct 2 are all unfortunately available on DVD right now, although actually, once again, I got to say, Basic Instinct 2 will not bore you.
I like the fact that we're telling people what's available on DVD. It's like saying, I went to this really terrible restaurant. Let me give you directions. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, that's it for this week's show. Until next week, the balcony is closed.